Hi, everybody, and welcome to Thrive in 25. My name is Madison Jacobs, and I'm a member of the Small Business Education team here at Infusionsoft. And today we're going to be talking about how to double your customers without spending more money. The Small Business Education team at Infusionsoft works super hard every day to find the best education that we can give to small businesses to help you guys succeed. So again, today we're going to talk about doubling your customers. And if you haven't watched the whiteboard videos on the topic of nurture, you want to do so now because that'll help set you up for this Thrive in 25. Also, make sure that you make your video screen full screen. That way that you can see all of the text and images that we're going to be showing you today in Infusionsoft's Campaign Builder, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So without further ado, I have to introduce our educational thought leaders today. First and foremost, we have Scott Martineau with us. He's the co-founder of Infusionsoft, and he grew this company basically from zero to hero, like being the leading provider of sales and marketing software for small businesses. So you're going to get to work with Scott today. That's awesome. I want to say hi really quick, Scott.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Excited to be here.
Awesome. And then last but definitely not least is Brina Kaiser, and she is our small business implementation expert. So basically what she does is take all that secret sauce that you learn about in the kits and the Thrive in 25s and our whiteboard videos, and she actually throws that brother on the burger. She makes it happen. She makes you want to take a bite out of it. So we're so happy to have Brina here today, and I can't wait to see what you guys have to share.
Awesome. I'm excited too. Thanks, Madison.
All right, well, the first thing we want to do here is let's reorient ourselves to what we talked about in the whiteboard video. If you remember, if you haven't watched the whiteboard video, you should watch it now. But we talked about this concept of the strawberry field, right? So what that is that imagine your business and your sales and marketing as a strawberry field. You go out, you put all this investment into creating this field that's going to give you a ripe harvest of customers. And what happens is we have a pretty decent, maybe 10% of our people are just hot and ready to buy, right?
So those people are like strawberries that are ready to be picked is the analogy. Correct?
Yeah, and in real life they have their credit card usually in their hand. They're ready to go. And then the problem is that most people take everybody else and they label those as bad leads, right? Well, they're not ready to buy. They must be a bad lead. Well, that's really not the reality of what's going on. Yeah, there are bad leads. There are these over here who, no matter what, they're never going to become a customer, and we don't really want to think about them and build our whole marketing plan for them. But it's in this middle area that there's just so much opportunity. So I want to talk about the two different groups. The first group here is what we call the could-be-readies. Okay, these are the people who they don't have their credit card in hand, figuratively speaking, but they are close enough to where they could, with the right incentive and offer, could be pushed over the edge to buy.
These people are kind of like the fruit you want to set out and you want to give it some time so that they're ready to be eaten. That's what you're saying.
Yes, they need a little more nurturing and loving and something to create a bit more urgency.
Awesome.
Now, there is a group of people here, and we can't forget about these people, where no matter what we do, no matter how much we nurture them and how much sunlight and watering we give them, they are just flat out not ready to buy today. And usually this means that the timing just isn't right. And what we have to remember is these leads, both of these groups, today's leads are tomorrow's buyers. We just have to have that in our mindset and not always be feeling like if they're not ready to buy today, well then they're a bad lead. Okay, so that's the premise that we're operating under. And what we're going to focus on today is we're going to show you how to take advantage of these two groups and specifically what we would implement with a small business owner to help them to make, to turn these people into sales without having to go invest a whole bunch more money. So, and by the way, we're going to continue the example of the chiropractor, for example, today, but I want you to be thinking, as we're using the chiropractor example, think about your business and try to apply the examples. Don't just tune out because we're not using your specific industry. These principles are broad. We'll give you examples of two different types of businesses in the end of our session today. But keep an open mind about how this can apply to your business. All right, so let's start. Brina, why don't you take us on kind of the journey you walk people through as they're starting to untangle this opportunity here and how we should approach this.
Well, the most important thing to do is to realize that our ultimate goal is always the sale, right? We want people to buy. That's why we have the strawberry field analogy to begin with. We're really focused on getting people to buy. More sales means more money, means why we have a business. But that's the ultimate goal. What we need to do is start from that sales goal and kind of reverse engineer our process to see what are those intermediate goals that we could be achieving that have the purpose of pushing the person through ultimately to the point of sale, even if they are not ready to buy today.
Great. So let's take the example of the chiropractor. A very common kind of last step before the purchase would be a free spinal evaluation, right? You have people come into the clinic and they put you down on the table, they convince you that your spine is completely out of whack and that what needs to happen is we need to get you signed up for some treatment. So
Okay, so this is a connection to like the first Thrive in 25. So the person, they might come to your website, they actually sign up for the free evaluation. They come in, they get the evaluation, and now we're talking about what happens after that.
yeah, and sort of, because what we're also going to do is leading up to the spinal evaluation, there are some people who have back pain, but they're actually not ready for a spinal evaluation. So we even want to extend and widen the top of our funnel, so to speak, a bit more. So what we created then was our lead magnet, which is our guide.
Gotcha.
You know, this was the guide to the 3 most common causes of back pain. So these are kind of the goals that we have. We're going to get them to request our guide, then we're going to get them to request a spinal evaluation, and hopefully they'll become a new patient at that point.
Perfect.
So let's talk about what to do with each of these groups. So, and we're going to not focus so much on the people who are ready. We're all pretty good at closing up that business. I want to focus on the could be readies and the not readies. The problem is we don't always know which person we're dealing with. We have kind of both of these people are coming to our website, the could be readies and the not readies. So one of the strategies we're going to teach you today is you offer this guide, this magnet. You give them something for free in exchange for capturing their information. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually present to them a special offer. And think about this as we're testing the ripeness, we're testing the heat level of this lead. We're going to present an offer, and we're going to do it in a way, remember, we don't want to frustrate everybody else who's not ready by pounding them over the head with an offer every single minute of the day, right? We're going to create a tasteful offer that we provide people with. And if they do, like, so let's say that we're dealing with, let's take the first scenario, which is our could be ready. So we come in, we say, hey, hope you enjoyed our guide about the 3 common causes of back pain. By the way, we offer free spinal evaluations. We offer that, and they take that offer. They're going to proceed on in the process. Fantastic. And hopefully we're going to go here and they're going to request the spinal evaluation. Here's where we'll actually schedule it. So our scheduler will actually reach out to them and schedule the evaluation, right? So that's kind of the ideal pathway. But in some cases, we're going to have people where we present this offer to them, and if they're in the not ready to buy, they're not going to take this spinal evaluation. So we're going to actually present another pathway here, which we'll call our long-term nurture. So this means we're gonna stay in touch with these people. The timing isn't right today. We're gonna stay in touch with them, provide high value, lots of helpful things that will keep us in their minds, so that when the time is right for them, they're gonna be thinking about us.
So all paths lead to the sale.
Always.
Even if they're not directly, like from start to finish right there, you kind of have to just morph it to make it happen a different way, or
That's
whatever
right.
the path of the customer is wanting to take.
That's right. And if I'm one of these not readies, I'm going to start out here. I'm going to get the guide. I won't take the offer. I'll come down to this nurture pathway.
Gotcha.
And in this nurture, we're going to also continue to create offers periodically, so that if and when the time is right, they'll come up and request this final evaluation.
Gotcha.
All right. So
I'm
Brina.
excited to see how this is going to work.
Oh yeah, well Brina does this stuff
It is
in her sleep.
magical. Yes.
Okay, so let's jump over and let's actually talk about how we go do this.
Great, awesome. This should look pretty familiar with what we were just talking about, right? We've got our 3 goals. Our web form where we offer them the guide. We want to get them to that free spinal evaluation where they request that. And ultimately, obviously, we want them to become a patient. We want them to sign up and start paying us. So along those lines, what we want to talk about is how they get from step to step. So let's come down here and we're going to grab these little babies right here. These are called sequences. Now, it's a fancy sounding word. All it really means is this is the stuff that happens after they accomplish this goal, right? So after they fill out that web form and request the guide, then I want to make sure that I deliver the guide to them and start that short-term nurture, start giving them that offer to get those could-be-ready people to the point where they're going to request that free spinal evaluation, and then ultimately become that new patient.
Gotcha.
And we're going to jump into that specific sequence, and we'll actually give you a formula that we've seen work really successfully.
Spoiler alert. Yep, that's coming soon.
Oh,
Yep. I just wonder if some people are looking at it and saying, well, what the heck would I send to somebody to get them, to...
Oh, fear not. We have it all. So
Sorry,
once they get, I'm not bitter. Once they get to that point, obviously, like Scott mentioned, once they do request that free spinal evaluation, then we have to have the method by which they schedule, right? That's critically important. And then, of course, they, if all goes well, become a new patient. And then we also, like Scott mentioned, we also have the ability to do the long-term nurture, right? So if they come in through here, we give them all these sweet offers and they are in that not ready category. They're not ready to jump to request that free spinal evaluation yet. Then we're going to drop them down, kind of waterfall into this long-term nurture. But then also, like we talked about, we're going to be still giving those occasional offers so that they, when they're ready, they'll bubble back up and they'll request that free spinal evaluation. So really what I want to call out here, though, is that it's the same process, whether they could be ready or they're not ready yet, with the exception of some additional conversation here, they're still going to re-enter our original process to begin with, because ultimately we want them to get to that final goal, which is becoming a new patient. And if they were in that awesome hot lead 10%, then they would just skip all of that from the beginning. They'd probably see my phone number on the website right away and become a new patient from the get-go. So if they're ready to buy today, then we are not going to make them jump through hoops and wait for a bunch of emails.
Right.
But if they're not ready, then we have a system in place. It's a contingency plan, right? That's going to convert more leads.
Gotcha.
So let's step, for those of you who haven't actually seen this screen before, this is a flowcharting, this is a tool inside of Infusionsoft called the Campaign Builder. It has both the flowcharting capability, so we can teach you how to implement this, and this actually also is the actual campaign. You drag these things together and they actually start to do things automatically for you. So let's just walk through it, though, if you're not familiar with the concept. So this is kind of like your could be ready and you're not ready now are actually coming to your website. Then they're actually filling out the form. So when they go onto your website, they punch their information and hit the button that says, yeah, give me the guide. Then they're going to continue down the path. And I think what Brina's point is that for people that just requested the guide, we're going to send them right here. And if you remember in the last video, we also allowed the option for them to check off and say, yes, I actually want the spinal evaluation, that they could do that as one of the offers on this form. So they kind of skip. So we don't want to be taking people who are ready to give us their credit card, figuratively speaking, and tell them to slow down. So then we'll send a series of emails, and then we're going to jump into that right now.
Yep, perfect. So let's go ahead and dive in to take a look at what this sequence, again, these actions that happen right inside here. So what we're seeing here, take a step back if it looks weird, really what we're just showing is a sequence of events, things that happen on the schedule that we want them to happen. And this is our 7-day offer countdown. It's a formula that's worked for a variety of different businesses. The messages change, but the concept is the same.
And this begins, go back a step there and just show us again. This begins, because I think you double-clicked and maybe some people. So we're going to dive into that. Okay, so I just filled out the form on the website, requested the guide, and now this is what begins to happen immediately after that.
Absolutely.
Okay,
so I'll double-click here on the sequence to go inside and see what's happening underneath the hood, if you will. So what we have happening here is just this series of communications that we're going to send to that person who just filled out our web form. So immediately we're going to give them this email. We're going to deliver that guide because that's what they asked for. We have to start to develop trust from the get-go. And then we're going to wait a day. And if they haven't taken us up on our offer yet, we're going to send them this email that's going to follow up. Hey, how did you like the guide? What are your thoughts on it? And then we're going to introduce a little additional incentive.
Just a super quick question here.
Yeah.
How would we know if somebody didn't read it or not? Will they click the link, or how would that work?
Once they request that consultation, they're going to jump forward in the process. Remember those dotted lines Scott had? That's what's going to occur. However, again, this is our contingency plan, right? So if they don't, we're going to send them this follow-up email and introduce the additional incentive. And now if they still don't do it, we're going to wait 3 more days and send them another little email. This one's a case study plus a reminder of the offer we introduced in the last email. And then we're going to wait 2 more days and send them a courtesy offer reminder. The tone here is really important because obviously they've had 3 other chances to take the offer. At this point, it's just a courtesy last reminder. Hey, we're not going to bug you anymore, but we're going to give you one last reminder. You can take us up on this amazing offer, etc. And then actually, I would also recommend one more email here. That would be, because we know what's going to happen after this point. If they don't take us up on their offer, they're transitioning to the long-term nurture sequence. So I would have one more communication here that orients the person to kind of set their expectations so they know what those remaining emails are going to look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is awesome. So I want you to just think about, it's always helpful, I think, to go back to the view of your prospect, right? Because they're the ones that are coming in and actually experiencing this. So they go to your website, they see this helpful guide that talks about the 3 common causes of back pain. And they go, and then right after they request that, they're getting this immediate email that, inside it, it's your 1 to 2 page guide. Here are the comments, Well, think about the opportunity you have here. Now you're positioning yourself as the expert who understands all the stuff related to chiropractic care and backs. And you can set a tone. There's such a powerful opportunity here. And all this is happening totally automatically. You don't have to spend energy thinking about that. And what I would recommend, one of the best practices is this formula is one that works. It provides a nice balance of frequency, but also not frustrating the people who aren't interested, because you don't want to be pounding them over the head. So the way you can offset that is by frequency and by value. So this is where you're adjusting your frequency to make sure you're not overselling here. And you could make adjustments to this if you like. This is just a formula we've seen work. And then down here, as we're sending the emails out, we want to make sure we're adding a ton of value. So this is a follow-up to the guide, and this could be a simple email that comes from your scheduler, right? So hey, my name is Madison, and I happen to schedule the free spinal evaluations at our chiropractic clinic. I noticed you requested the guide. If you'd like, I could set you up with just a really friendly, warm. This isn't like, but wait, there's more hardcore off. We don't want to go to that.
You want to just be there, at the right time.
Yeah, and it feels in the end like I am providing great service to you, right? And then here, we're doing a case study. So let me tell you about Bob, who had these issues, and da-da-da. Again, you're really giving value and a courtesy offer. And then, so just, these aren't like really extensive emails and complicated stuff. This is just you showing up. These are probably conversations that you and your staff are having all day long. Let's just make them be really high value and make sure they have the right frequency. Okay, awesome. So that's our 7-day offer countdown formula. So let's go back and talk about what's next.
Perfect. All right. So once we have that rolling, like Madison mentioned, hopefully at that point we'll find out they were in that could be ready to buy category, and they will jump ahead, request that free spinal evaluation. And then once they make that request, then as soon as they do, let's go into this sequence right here and see what actions we want to have happen there. Well, in this case, it's just a task. I want, as soon as a person requests a consultation, I want my receptionist or whoever makes those calls to get that task so that they have a running list of everybody that needs to be contacted, and it's going to happen as soon as they make the request. Does that make sense?
Totally. It's great.
Awesome. And it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that, because once we get them on the phone and communicate with them that way, then we're on the road to having a new patient.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Now, I also want to go ahead and dive into the long-term nurture here. Do you guys feel okay with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. All right. So again, this is this sequence of events here. If they didn't take us up on that initial offer and request the free spinal evaluation yet, then they're going to fall down the waterfall here into the long-term nurture. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So this is kind of, again, a best practice layout just to start with. You'll notice it's not really long in the long-term nurture, but that's okay. I can start with this and then build it as time goes on. So
I think that's an important point, because a lot of times people look at this, small business owners are like, well, what am I going to write about? I don't want to go create something for every month of the year. Well, the nice thing is you don't actually need to go build all that in advance. The most important thing is let's get something started, and each month all you need to do is find time to do one more simple email where you write out, you send the same love out to the people that have requested your guide in the past, and you're continuing to teach them, share examples, more success stories, right, and so forth. So
perfect. Making my point for me. I love it. So, like, for example here, after the next month, we'd send them a success story. We'd focus the message on there. Again, the emphasis here is value, and as you're noticing, we've decreased the frequency because this is long term. And these people already told us they weren't ready to buy now, so continuing to hit them over the head with really frequent emails is going to tick them off, so we're not going to do that. So probably the once a month cadence is pretty good, but then you'll notice we've got something else happening right here. So we've got 2 months where we just sent them one email, a nice value added message, and then we'd wait probably 2 weeks and then send them this offer-driven email here. So again, we mentioned that we would sprinkle in occasional offers, and the point of that is like, great, we're continuing the message, we're staying top of mind, but then we're just kind of putting this teaser out there, a temperature check. Hey, are you a hot lead yet?
Gotcha.
So we give them the immediate opportunity to respond. In this case, like we might offer a free massage, and then say, great, we'll offer you a free massage if you schedule your free spinal evaluation.
Gotcha.
So it's always linking back up to our main sales process.
So it's really important that through your education, you're interlacing the offers too. You can't just offer a bunch of education and not ask them to do something. You want
Absolutely.
to push them in the right direction.
Well, and we want to push them, and it's not always to the final point of sale.
Right.
We're pushing them to our next intermediate
Step.
goal. In this
Gotcha.
case, the spinal evaluation. And that's where we really mediate our message, so it's not a hard sales drive to these people who already told us they're not ready for a hard sales pitch.
Gotcha.
We give them the next step, not the ultimate step.
So what's interesting, again, if you kind of go back to the perspective of your, your user who's going through this, if you have, you're not your user, this is your prospective customer. So on day one, as soon as I maybe requested that guide or got dumped into this nurture, this nurture program here, what might be going on? Well, there could be 1,000 reasons why I'm not ready to go see a chiropractor that have nothing to do with you. They just have to do with me. Maybe I just got off vacation and I have 6 weeks of backlog sitting on top of my shoulders, right? Well, it might be the case that in a couple months, once I get that backlog figured out, my shoulders are still going to hurt. Figuratively speaking, that works out really well. So this is about timing, right? And we're just there. We're there like clockwork, providing really high, and this is all about value again, right? Boom, we're there, and then we have tactful offers. And I think, to your point, Brina, we can have offers here too. We can have little soft offers. Hey, let's talk about chiropractic for kids. Is it really right? Is this humane that we should be cracking kids' back? Whatever. So
That was kind of weird. But
They love it.
So fantastic. So now we have this ongoing nurture, and when they're ready to buy, we have these little plugs or these little hooks that will send them through the process. Great. Any other comments on this, Brina?
No, again, I just want to point out that this is just the starting point. You can continue to build and build and build, and it's just as easy as adding on the next time or the next email. Right. And you can do that at your pace. As long as we stay a month ahead, we're going to be good to go.
And education has just become so important. What's your guys' opinion that, people are kind of taking their own steps, even though you're sort of creating these intermediate steps for them. People are getting more knowledgeable with the internet. They're doing research and they're wanting to find out that you're a chiropractor that actually knows what you're talking about. So that's why we use this educational formula. It's just a more effective way to get them where you want them to go.
Yep. And again, the concept of top of mind, that I stay in front of them, because if I'm nurturing them, we know they had some kind of issue to begin with. That's why they came to our website. That's why we captured them. So I don't want to have done some nurturing in the beginning only for my competitor to swoop in and take them when they are ready to buy. So if I stay top of mind with them, then when they are really ready to buy, when they truly are a hot lead, then they'll come back to me.
And likely they're probably looking at other chiropractors as well.
Exactly.
So you can win the game in that. Way more awesome.
Yep.
So let's do a couple of other examples. If you're not a chiropractor or have that business model, what I want to do is I want to back out and I want to take these goals. We get a new patient, a customer, we all have that goal. And the free spinal evaluation and the lead capture of our guide. Let's take a couple of other examples and see how they might work in a different business model. So let's actually just clear this out and we'll start over. So we have, in the chiropractor example, we have oh, hold on one moment. Technical difficulties. All right, there we go. I think we're getting back. All right, so in the case of our chiropractor example, we have the final goal is they become a new patient, and we have the free spinal evaluation, and we have the guide. So let's talk about two other quick examples that would follow a similar model but be just a little bit different. So in one case, let's take a B2B sales company. I'm selling furniture in this example. So our goal is the same thing. We want to get the client, right? And in this case, what I want to do is we actually want to get people out to our showroom to show them all of our furniture, because we find that that's one of the most engaging opportunities that we have. So this is like a showroom, maybe a showroom tour or a visit or something like that, right? And before that, what we might want to do is we might want to create another type of guide. So this might be a white paper on the effects of ergonomic chairs on employee productivity.
Whoa.
Or something like that, right?
Our chiropractor would appreciate it, yes.
Oh, that's right. There's even tie in there.
Oh, yeah. There's total tie in there.
That's beautiful. And then another example might be we have an online retailer. So let's say we have somebody who, one of our customers sells surfboards. So again, the whole goal here is that we get a customer. And in the case of the surfboard, we don't actually have a really long sales cycle. So I'm going to actually jump back to the beginning, and what we would do here is the same thing. In fact, our customer created a surfboard selection guide.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, depending on your style of surfing, I'll help you to find the right surfboard. And in this case, we're going to try to push our people, and the interim action here is that they just click on our offer, and they actually want to buy. So all of these follow a very similar model. We have an initial opt-in. We begin to send them some type of offer to see if we can capture the low-hanging fruit, right? If they don't take the offer, then we're going to drop them into a longer-term nurture campaign. If they do take the offer, then we'll continue forward. In this case, we'll schedule. In this case, we'll close up the deal. In the case here, they're going to hopefully go and buy. And there are other opportunities for follow-up. But as you can see, the model works with different industries. And we're happy to help small businesses to create an application for your specific scenario. But the point is, there is more opportunity sitting right there in your business in the current marketing spend and investment that you have. Let's just find ways to take advantage of it. All right, so that concludes our Thrive in 25 today, and we thank you all for the time and energy you've spent, and let's go out and find ways to get more customers with spending less money.
Oh, yeah.
Bye, guys. See you next time.